Hello, Top Fan Reverie followers. It is Bill and Jackson. It's the weekly review time. It's Friday, so you know what drops in the locker room. You know how we roll, right? So, Jackson, how are you doing this wonderful Friday morning?
I'm doing pretty good. Doing pretty good.
Nice, nice. Giddy up, right? So, let's dive right into it because there's a lot we can talk about. So, what do you want to go with first this week, Jackson?
How about them Pittsburgh Pirates?
Ooh, that's a good one.
We're 25 games in the season roughly for most teams. The Pirates are in first place with a 17-8 record as of playing on Thursday at 1:02 Eastern time. They're playing the Dodgers right now. More importantly, how are those Pittsburgh Pirates winning and signing Brian Reynolds to an extension, 8 years for $106 million? How about that?
Artist X Million Canuckets. Yep. Yep, I
Well,
like it. I like it. The Pirates are showing that they're all in, that they're tired of not winning, and that they want to be the We Are Family Pirates, where they're going to start winning some stuff, right?
yeah, I mean, it's big for the franchise. It's their first $100 million contract ever. So I think the owners recognized the early success, and he kind of told the general manager, do what needs to get done to get Brian Reynolds extended because he is their best player by far. So I mean, if you're a Pittsburgh fan, you're feeling a little good. You're probably not expecting the Pirates to have the best record of the NL all year, but maybe they'll make some noise. They're looking good early on.
Yep, yep, yep. I think the Pirates are looking good. Again, both Central divisions are up for the taking, right? Both National League and American League Centrals. So you can win those with you can win those with a decent amount of wins, right? You know, you can win it with 90 wins. You don't need 100 wins to win that division, either division. So I'm pretty stoked about that. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
Pretty awesome. So
so that was my number one.
there you go. So my number one is baseball and politics, and I'll tell you what I mean by that. So everybody knows that Jackson obviously is a Braves fan. If you're watching this because you're seeing Jackson in a Braves gear, everybody knows I'm a Dodger fan. The Dodgers have Will Smith out on the 7-day IL for concussion protocol. Okay. Now, in typical Dodger fashion, they say, oh, it's not that big of a deal. We're just going to put him on the IL for a couple of days, just and retro him. He'll only be out a couple of days. BS. He's been out now for a full-fledged, I don't know, week and a half. And in addition to that, he is still not playing in the Pirates series. He may not play in the Mets series um, that they have here coming up. So it's or the St. Louis series. I can't remember which one's next, but it's just sad to me that like ownership can't be honest about specific injuries, and all they want to do is kind of play politics with it because they need people to come to the stadium. But if they know that this person is um, on the IL and this person's on the IL, they may not buy tickets. So ownership has to downplay it, and it drives me nuts. I've got two Dodger friends that are they straight out say to me all the time, Bill, no can do. I don't believe anything that they say. So yeah, so that's my first one. Stop playing politics. Just tell us the honest truth. The guy got his bell rung and he'll probably be out 2 to 3 weeks. Just be honest about it.
Yeah, I mean, professional sports nowadays, it's turned into the hockey injury report where they tell you upper body injury, unspecified amount of time. Teams like to kind of hold their cards close to their chest, but when it regards to player safety and health, if your guy's hurt, he's hurt. I I appreciate the Braves had the same kind of situation. Travis d'Arnaud, he got his bell rung. He's had a history of concussions. He's on the 7-day IL and he's been out coming up on 2 weeks now.
Mm.
But it's good to keep the player to make sure that the player's safe and he's healthy before getting him back into the field. You don't want to rush him back in April and end his season in May.
No, absolutely not. I don't want anybody to get hurt. I want everybody to be healthy. I just want you to be honest with me,
Yeah,
right? If a
but
player's hurt, he's hurt. Just be honest about it.
yeah, but how the Braves have handled that situation, they said Travis has had a history of concussions. Don't bank on him coming back anytime soon.
Right, right, right. Okay. So what's your number two?
My number two. Uh, this is a big one for the AL West race. Robbie Ray is going to miss the rest of the season for the Seattle Mariners. He has torn his flexor tendon, which I believe is on the front part of your shoulder.
Yep.
Don't quote me on that. I'm not a doctor. Um, but that's big for the Mariners. He's kind of their ace. And right now they're sitting only 3 games back, but they are in fourth place. So they would have to leapfrog the Angels, the Astros, and the Rangers. And at the end of the day, you it's going to be tough for the Mariners because without Robbie Ray, are they better than those 3 teams in front of them?
I don't know.
I
I
don't know.
I don't know. They're gonna have to go shot. The problem is when you have a team like Seattle, and no disrespect to Seattle, they haven't had a history in the last 10 years or so of making the playoffs. So if you're at the trade deadline and you're looking for a pitcher, you're trying to recruit somebody where it rains 200 days a year and a team that isn't always built for the playoffs. It's really hard to recruit that, right? It's easier to recruit to the Yankees, to the Braves, to the Phillies, to the Astros, to the Dodgers, Padres, teams that are used to winning and have a history of winning. It's not so easy otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, the even bigger thing is frontline starting pitchers don't grow on trees.
Mm-mm.
So losing a guy like Robbie Ray when Robbie Ray's at his best, he's a Cy Young candidate. So it's a really big blow for that race, and I think it's going to affect kind of for those of you that watch the season preview of all the top fans on there, a lot of people were picking Seattle to make the playoffs. I think that's going to shake up a lot of people's opinions. I think it's going to shake up that race immensely in the
Yeah,
American League wild card more specifically.
yep. I completely and totally agree with you. Completely and totally agree with you. So yeah, so that's a good call for number two. Um, my number two is relatively similar but different. I'm looking at all the people that have season ending injuries and or arm issues. There's a number of individuals who have had arm issues. If you look at the IL list that of people that are going to miss significant time, it's pretty big. So the question is asked, is it because people aren't working out in the off season? Is it because they are working out in the off season? Or is it because they're doing too much, not enough? The body's not used to coming back. Like, what is it? And so I guess my argument is you find what works best for you and then you roll with that. Right. And you keep yourself even keel, period. Right. And so yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with that. I just too many injuries, too many players getting hurt too early and for significant amounts of time. In Giancarlo Stanton, another superstar, right? He's out till probably June. Um, you have freak accidents like Gavin Lux where that happens, right? But you've had people that have had, that are going to need Tommy John surgery. You have people that are out for the season. You have hamstrings torn. It's like, okay, what are you doing in the off season? Are you doing too much? Are you not doing enough where you're coming back and it's hurting?
Yeah, I mean, it's really tough. I think this season's been especially brutal, but I think it's just one of those years. Every once in a while, we'll have a year, where the injury bug seems to fly around the league and take out players. I think this year is just kind of taking out more high profile players than what's normal. So luckily it is still early in the season. I know there's been a lot of season enders, but a lot of these, minor, 2-3 month injuries, we'll get to see those guys play again. They'll still get about 100 games, which will help their teams. Hopefully.
Yeah, you would hope, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you got for number three?
How about we talk about the front runner for the National League Cy Young Award right now, Zach Gallen,
Yeah, yes, yeah,
carrying the Diamondbacks on his back. He's extended his scoreless inning streak to 28 innings. He struck out 12 batters last night. He now leads the National League in strikeouts. I saw something crazy in this streak of 28 scoreless innings. He has like 41 strikeouts to 1 walk or something absurd. And I think the Diamondbacks, if they're going to be successful this year, part of the reason why they've been so successful is that young pitching's finally, matured. Zach Gallen's at the lead, and he's pitching like he did last year in the second half, and that's really scary for, the teams in the National League West. The Padres aren't off to the best start. The Dodgers aren't off to the best start. So it really kind of opens the door for the Diamondbacks to maybe do something with their start that they've had to maybe, stay alive in the race and kind of push those teams for the division spot and the wild card spot. What do you think, Bill?
I agree. I agree. Zach Allen, you said it perfectly. He is literally carrying that team on his shoulders. He is literally carrying that team on his shoulders, and he looks good. And Arizona is just a couple of pieces away from making a serious, deep playoff run, right? Carroll is over there. He's having a season, right? At the end of the day, it looks really good for that team over there. And if he consistently stays where he's at, forget about it. Arizona's going to make a deep run, at least get to the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
So, yep. Okay, so my third one is actually kind of funny. You're actually going to laugh about this. Are you ready?
Yeah.
What is it about the All-Star break being so frisky? Okay.
I know.
How many players are on paternity leave right now in baseball?
A lot. You mentioned it the other day, and it made me laugh because the Braves they put Joe Jimenez on the paternity list last night,
Yep.
which
Yep.
which
I'm
made me
like,
laugh.
fellas, the All-Star break. I guess the All-Star break is the time to get frisky.
Mhm.
I joke about this, but family is always going to come first in my book. Family is always, always, always going to be first. But at the same time, you have a job to do, right? And you got to be careful with your job. I mean, think about it. Baseball players make very handsome. Even if you're making the league minimum, you're making $60,000 a month as a league of minimum guy. Okay, so after taxes, you're probably bringing home 40,000. You're bringing over $500,000 in after taxes. If you can't live on that, then that's your fault. Now, that's the league minimum, right? We're not talking about Brian Reynolds. We're not talking about Giancarlo Stanton. We're not talking about Arson Judge. We're not talking about, um, Mookie Betts or Freddie Freeman or pretty much everybody that plays for San Diego. We're we're talking about the league minimum guys, right? And so in baseball, it's all about your hot start, right? If you look at the Cardinals, for example, the Cardinals have not had a great start. I think they're 5 games under 500 right now. And you have teams that have had very hot starts like Tampa Bay. It's going to be really hard for Tampa Bay. I shouldn't say it's going to be really hard. It's going to be hard for Tampa Bay with this start not to make the playoffs because they have such a strong lead right now. And if they can play 550, 600 ball the rest of the season because of their start, they're going to make it in, right? But when you're missing people on paternity leave all the time, and again, I'm not picking on people having babies. In fact, I think that that's great. I just, maybe time it where you sit down with your wife and say, okay, I got to report to spring training in a month, right? That way the baby's born in November or December or January. Just a thought.
I mean,
Kind of funny, but just a thought.
you could look at it this way though. I know every game counts, but wouldn't you rather miss a game in April than come September, you're playing a big series and it's like, oh, I have to be at the birth of my son. I can't play the 2-3 games against the division rival for the division. So in April, it's just something funny to chuckle about, I think, because you can go back to the All-Star break last year, and it's just one of those things. It's been amusing to see how many people have got on the paternity list this year
Yeah.
alone, because it's
Yeah.
not very common.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's not. It's not as common as people would think. And it's just it's strange to me, right? I mean, I don't mean to be sounding weird about it. It's strange. And some of the teams like the Dodgers and the Cubs had Cody Bellinger. The Dodgers have half of their team on paternity leave right now. You said the Braves, you got other players. Those are the teams that are expected to do well and make playoff runs. But when you've got guys like Mookie Betts and other folks that are on paternity leave, they start seasons, they're not really catching up on different things. And you can see that it can affect their game in certain senses. In Mookie Betts' case, he's having a very slow start. He's hitting, what, 250? Right? So he's having a really, really slow start to the season.
Yeah, but some guys have a kid and they turn into the second coming of Babe Ruth. Look at Max Muncy and his dad power and the 7, 8 home runs he clobbered last week. So I think it does affect the player's mentality, and because they're human. If your wife's struggling or particularly uncomfortable, maybe it kind of affects your mental psyche. It's hard to go to work and not think about your significant other like that.
Right.
But better now because they have more time to overcome the early struggle than like I said in September, where maybe you get into a rut in September and then heading into the playoffs, you're not in the right state of mind to play at all. So
Right. No, I couldn't agree with you more. I couldn't agree with you more. It's crazy, but it's truth. I mean, you just gotta. I mean, you work 9 months out of the year. You have you have all of November, December, January off, and part of February. So, and if you're the Angels, you have October off. So, you have 3.5, 4.5 months off, like in a row, off. And so I'm just saying plan. A little bit of planning, that's all. But I'm gonna start calling the All-Star break Frisky break.
like a mini vacation for most guys. You got Disney World circled on the calendar. It's like go to the All-Star game. Now I'm gonna go to Disney World with my kids, man.
Awesome. All right, Top Fan Rivalries followers, this is what we got for you for this week. It's been a fun week. It's going to be exciting. We got a lot of things to announce coming up. We'll save those just as teasers, but let's just say that the next 3 months you're going to want to hop on the Top Fan Rivalry freight train and just watch it as it barrels through some stuff. So, Jackson, do you have any honorable mentions, or should we say goodbye to our friends?
I have one.
Go ahead.
Shout out to Drew Maggie. I think that's how you say his name. Who made his debut for the Pittsburgh Pirates last night after 1,100 minor league games. So a round of applause for him for grinding through the minor league season and making it to the MLB. Congratulations, Drew.
Yes.
You're living the dream, man. You're living the dream.
All 3,800 people at the stadium were clapping for you.
I think there's a little bit more than that. The Pirates in first place.
I watched the game the other day, and all 3,800 people in the stands were clapping for him. Which, by the way, is 3,500 more than Oakland draws at home.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Sounds about right. All right, Top Fan Rivalry followers, we appreciate you. Thank you for listening to our weekly review. Make sure that you're going onto the site. Obviously, you were on the site when you got into the locker room. So make sure that you're staying on there and checking out the watch parties. We got 2 back-to-back coming up. We got one in Anaheim and one in San Diego. So check those out, register. Guess what? If you refer somebody over to it, you can actually get one at the event. But if you refer somebody over and they sign up for the event for free, they can also sign up for Locker Room and they'll get a free Top Fan Rivalry t-shirt that is specific to that specific event. So, Jackson, we have t-shirts because they're Dodgers Padres back to back. One weekend they're in LA, one weekend they're in San Diego. We have Bleeds Blue versus Friar Faithful shirts being printed up with both locations that we're going to be at. So it's pretty awesome.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. So, Jackson, thanks for doing the weekly review with us, and we will definitely talk soon.
Yeah, have a good one.
You guys.